cluster is that? Like, how do you manage it?
Well, when we're not practicing, you try to soothe the voice a little bit, but when you are, you got to go. So just as part of the job when you coach O-line.
Now that you've seen your group go through the entire spring of practices, learning this new offense while you're coaching everything, how have you seen them adapt? The guys who've been here adapt to it, and the guys who are newer to the team also adapting to it, and we're kind of catching up to speed.
I think the guys who have been here for a little bit longer, they've adapted to it a little bit quicker because they've been around different schemes. They've been around college football for a long time, so they've, kind of taken to it pretty quickly and picked it up pretty fast. Obviously when the bullets fly on Saturdays and these scrimmages, and it happens a lot faster for these guys, that's been the real test. And I think a lot of our older guys, like BJ and Bear, those guys have really done a great job of adjusting to the blitzes and the twists and the fronts, and the different stuff that we see day to day. Some of our younger guys, took them a little bit longer, but they're starting to pick it up. Like some of our freshmen, Mortiz, it's taken him a minute, but now he's started to find his stride, and he's starting to pick things up a little bit more and become more of a reliable part of this unit.
You were with Cade Bell in 2018 when you won the national championship with Augusta. 6 years ago. What was he like as a 25-year-old play caller? How has he developed in the play caller now?
Still the same energy from 2018 to now. He's still going to be that fiery offensive coordinator. He's still going to be an aggressive play caller. He's going to go for it. He's not going to be a conservative type of guy, and that's why I love him, because he's going to take those chances. It's 4-minute drill isn't always just hand the ball off. Sometimes you're going to throw it. Sometimes you're going to run a screen. Sometimes you're going to do all sorts of different things than what we do. So you never really know. You got to kind of be on your heels as a defensive coordinator when you play against Coach Cade. So from a personality standpoint, he's still the same guy. From a play caller, obviously I've seen him kind of improve year in and year out on how to attack defenses to the point now where, he's pretty much effective in just about anything that he sees.
Called Nate Yarnell a gambler. When you have a quarterback that's willing to either take chances like that down the field or with his legs, especially with his legs, how does that affect how you coach up your offensive line, or maybe what an offensive lineman does when you have a quarterback that can kind of do that?
Yeah, if you got a quarterback that'll take those chances, and if you have a quarterback that is going to go through different reads or take off running or take longer to throw the ball, whatever it is, you're always going to want your offensive line to hang on as long as possible, right? But for us, that doesn't matter because we're doing that anyways. There's not a play that we're going to run. We're going to say, hey, at this point you can stop blocking. It's going to be through the echo of the whistle every time that we block on the offensive line. So what he does is what he does, and we're going to play the way we play, and that's going to be physical and through the echo of the whistle.
What are your coaching points for a spring game where you got some guys sitting out, you got lines mixed up, and units mixed up?
Well, the nice thing is we've been able to keep our offensive line together. So our ones are all going together. Our twos are going together. Our threes will be sprinkled in here or there. So we'll get a chance to keep some continuity there with our double teams and how we call stuff and, what we call our different polls and different stuff that way. So it's not going to be as much of a plug and play as some of the other spots like the skill players and the running backs and the quarterbacks. So we've got some continuity there. We won't have to deal with it much. As far as what we're looking for, what I'm looking for is a clean scrimmage. I don't want to see guys running free. I want to make sure we're hatting guys up, and then I want to make sure that we're playing physical. That's always, as an offensive line coach, what you're looking for, guys that, like we talked about a minute ago, are going to finish blocks, right? You always want to see that no matter who you're going against. If it's a live period, let's ride.
You're missing 2 or 3 starters. That hurts continuity, at least for this week.
It's something that we battled over the last couple of weeks. So we've kind of, our new continuity is without those guys, right? So we've been able to grow. We certainly miss them. We certainly love them. We can't wait for them to come back. But that's college football, right? And you got to be ready to adapt and conquer when you do lose guys. So it's been a heck of a job by guys like Jackson and Cooper stepping up and getting into those starting spots and taking them and taking ownership of them and just playing their lights out. So for us, we've been in that battle for the last couple of weeks, and we've kind of really gelled. At least our first couple groups have for sure.
In-helmet communication is still relatively new. How have you adjusted? How have your players adjusted? And what kind of a change is that?
It's been nothing for the O-line. Like, I'll be honest, I wish I had a cool answer for that, but it ain't changed nothing for us up front, you know. Obviously, Coach Cade and the quarterbacks are kind of the ones that have got to deal with it the most, and, you know, they're the ones that'll really tackle any issues that come up there. For us, it hasn't been it doesn't even blip on our radar, really.
Anyone been sitting out for you so far this spring?
Sir?
Anyone's been sitting out for you to be a line?
Yeah, B.J. Williams has been phenomenal at right guard. I think he plays physical and he plays consistent. You know, and that's one thing you look for in offensive line is consistent and predictability, right? Can I predict what he's going to do play to play, or is it a flip of the coin whether he's going to go right or left? He's predictable and he's consistent in his technique and he's physical. So B.J.'s come a long way for us. Lyndon Cooper's, you know, obviously a guy that transferred in for us, and he has been playing lights out. He's an aggressive football player. He's like that old school football player that you want, that is just a tough guy, a mean guy on the field, nasty finisher. Really enjoyed the way that Cooper's been playing for us. Bear has also been a guy that's been consistent at right tackle for us throughout the spring, and really like the way that he's been playing for us as well.
You like Cooper, I mean, all three interior spots, or where are you seeing him?
I think Cooper's a guy that could really play anywhere. You know, he could play left guard. I mean, obviously probably not tackle, but he could play left guard, center, right guard. He's got the brain to do it. He's got the ability to do it, and he's got the mentality to play any of those spots. And that's always great when you talk about, you know, guys that want to play at the next level. You know, next door they travel with 7, 8 offensive linemen. So guys that can play different spots are obviously going to be valuable, not only to us, but going on to the next level for any of them that get that chance.
What are the details you're looking for Saturday?
You know, the details I'm looking for, you know, the main thing I'm looking for is that we get on the right guys. Okay, like I don't want to see them throwing blitzes and all of a sudden there's a Mike linebacker running free that belonged to us, or we don't block a defensive end, right? Those are the things that on practice 15, I hope that we're past, right? So it'll be that, you know, mainly just hatting up the right guys, and then, you know, just playing physical football, right? I don't want to turn that tape on and see us not running our feet through blocks, not finishing blocks when we have the opportunity. Obviously, we're going to keep our own team safe, but just being physical at the point of attack and running our feet through blocks. So hatting the right guys up, playing physical, those are two, you know, real shining points of any offensive line.
You have about 4 or 5 starters back from last year, but I have to imagine developing depth was a big focus this spring to see who that next group is going to be. I'm sure Cooper with his versatility helps with that because you can plug a couple of spots, but how is the depth overall?
Yeah, I think we're in a good spot. You know, I think that, you know, Jackson is a guy that has stepped up to play our left tackle spot with obviously with Branson being out this last half of spring, and he's done a phenomenal job out there at left tackle. I think Terrence Enos is a guy inside playing for us that's done a really good job. He plays physical. He's got that it factor that you look for on the offensive line, that mentality of I'm going to beat the guy out in front of me, right? That defense lineman, he can't hold up to me. Isaiah Montgomery playing out there at right tackle for us with the twos. He's another one that's come a long way for us, and just his ability to finish blocks and fit guys up. We need to refine his technique a little bit, but it'll come. He's still young, right? He's just a puppy. So I think those guys have really come along. And obviously Cooper, you talked about him before. He's been playing center for us for the last, I guess, 2.5 weeks now at starting, and he's playing lights out.
Do you have much of a read on what Ryan Jacoby might be able to do for you? He hasn't played in a long time.
I believe in our training staff downstairs. I believe in the doctors for Pitt, and I believe that they'll get him ready to play. You know, obviously knee injuries aren't what they were 20 years ago. You know, it can be, modern science is a wonderful thing nowadays. So I have the full faith in our staff that he'll be ready to play.
How has Branson been able to stay involved?
He's all in meetings, you know, like he'll mentor those young tackles and he'll make sure that they're doing what needs to be done. He's not a guy that just sits on the sideline during team reps either. He'll be out there watching, you know, hey Jackson, you need to do this. Hey Jackson, you need to do that. Do this better, do that better. So for me, he's been a little bit of a coach out on the field for me as well. So he's involved. He's not a guy that's isolated himself by any means.